Yes. Yes. I believe euthanasia is I wouldn't say assisted suicide or putting down somebody, making it less painful as they're suffering, dying. You know, they do it with animals. Never really thought about it. In very limited circumstances, I'd probably be okay with it. If I had to pick one or the other, probably be against it.
Okay.
Only because I think they already could do things to make life easier, and so I think the slippery slope issue would be my main concern if I had to pick one or the other. If I was voting on it, I'd probably vote against it. No, not really. I would say terminal illness, extreme suffering, and age. I don't think necessarily a younger person should make that decision.
That's good.
I think that would be my main answer.
Okay.
I was just saying, like, I know my grandma when she was ready to go, so I don't know, like, she lived a good life, a good long life, she was ready to see her husband, very Catholic, ready to see her husband in heaven. She didn't want any extra medical care. So I think a hospice is kind of already like that, and I don't know. So they wouldn't do anything special for her because she didn't ask. She said, don't do anything extra. I don't think so she was ready to go, but at the same time she wasn't. I don't think she would do it. I don't think her religious beliefs would allow her to actively do it. If she wants to go off a respirator, I guess, but I don't necessarily think that she should be allowed to. No. I guess when I had a surgery one time, I was out, but no, I'm in recovery. Not really. I guess when I had concussions, maybe, but not solely. I still had enough wherewithal. So no, I guess I've not really ever been in that situation.
Okay.
If I was in that situation, I could see how that would be an issue. Total loss of control. On the other hand, I don't know the answer on that. Do I see myself in the situation? Sure. Would I feel scared about it or like bad? Yeah, I can see how someone would argue that that's a bad situation to be in. If I was in that situation, I don't necessarily see myself. You're still alive. You still have a life. I guess that's my point. You still have a life, even though it's miserable. You can still find the good in life. You can still watch your TV. You can still hang out. You can still entertain yourself in some ways. But yeah, I can see how it might be difficult.
Okay.
Because even if there's a little chance, I would say, and there are cases and things that have happened where people could come back. I know there was a case in Florida years ago where that was a big issue. I think depends on what the wishes are of the person. So if they have if they have a directive and they say this is what I want you to do. Like my father-in-law he was in a bad situation and he wanted everything done. he's a doctor, and they did everything. They saved him, and he came back after like 2 weeks, you know. Now he's fine. He lost his fingers and his hands and feet and all that, but he's recovered and he's functioning. So I mean, anything is possible. So I would go for the anything is possible situation. I mean, at a certain point, I don't know what the time is, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But at some point, you might say, enough is enough. But certainly not right away. Not based on the scenario you gave me. I would say no. I guess I said 5 or 10 years already. If there's no improvement, a year, 2 years, I think it would go back to the family's wishes if they're ready to move on. I don't think so. I think it'd be up to them. It would be up to the directive. If they have no directive, then it would be up to the family, I guess. However, I would rather, personally, maybe it's just my personal take on life, I'd rather err on the side of caution and have that opportunity to fight, and you never know, maybe something happens. On the other hand, I mean, I know there was a situation of a girl here in California a few years ago. The child was brain dead, and the parents didn't want to admit to it, you know. I mean, I think the difference between brain dead and what you described as just an accident with little to no chance of survival, I think as long as the brain's alive, you still have a chance. Mm-hmm. Personally, that's my understanding of medically speaking. No. Yeah, maybe, and I know people that are kind of like that, but they still have, you know, somebody with cerebral palsy. I guess it would be my cousin. No, I don't know. My sister-in-law's sister. I guess like a second cousin. She's in a home. She's, you know, I don't know, I met her, but she needs assistance all the time, and yet she still has, you know, a life. So I think a life is a life. I mean, I still think it's not really our choice to decide that. Because if you start doing that, I would, again, say no. I think that you should be able to do everything necessary to make her life tolerable, but not necessarily let her die. Not as far as the government allowing it, or not as far as actively doing it. But passively, yeah, if that's what it is, and you could ease the pain, that's what I would be in favor of. I don't think financial should be any consideration whatsoever. You're talking about life and death. I believe that if it's possible, we should try to keep every single person alive if they want to. I could see the argument of not wanting to, but I would hate to see a situation where, oh, well, it's not worth keeping that person alive. Unfortunately, when you start having the government start taking over and, you know, making the rules and the laws about who gets health care and who doesn't get health care because it gets expensive, you might have a situation where you have rationing like that. I don't think that should be the case. I don't think that should be any factor in terms of the discussion of euthanasia, personally. I'm not passionate about this issue at all. I mean, in terms of, I'm not influenced by it. I don't know much about it, and I'm not the one to decide that. I'm not a politician, but I am part of society, and I do believe that society, we should try to value every life. Part of me does, as a libertarian type of philosophy, I do understand the idea of letting people do what they want to do, especially if they're informed and they can make a wise, rational decision. However, I still don't believe that you should. I'm not the one making that choice, and you know, they can make their own choice individually. I just don't think it's a good policy overall. Probably. I can imagine. I could figure that it would be different. Although I don't think that we should make our policies based on our individual feelings about something. We should make policies based on what's good for society, as a government, as a Congress, as a country. Just because somebody's has a gay child and would like to see them happy doesn't mean that that's what's best for society is to allow gay marriage. As an example, maybe it is, maybe it's not. That's for other people to decide. Of course, that's for voters to decide, it's for politicians, it's for people to decide. But same thing here, just because you see somebody suffering doesn't mean that we should make a law, because laws can be abused. I don't really know why I'm not even sure why it's a law, to be honest, why you can't choose to do these things in some ways. But if we're going to have laws in society, then we need to choose things. I don't know the answer. Sorry. I'm not sure. I believe that some cases do hold more weight than others. I think the suffering would be the main thing if I had to think about it. The more suffering somebody's feeling, the more pain they're in, the more educated their decision is, so how knowledgeable they are on it. I think certainly age would be like the number one decision. If you're older and you were, knew what you were doing and accepting the decision on your own. When you're young, you might not have all the information, and you might not. So that would be the only thing. Age would probably be the biggest issue. Otherwise, I don't see them as different. I don't see each individual situation. I think it's just a general yes or no. Should we do it or shouldn't we do it? Yes, I absolutely agree with that. I think lots of people get depressed at times in their lives, and they get through it and they get past it. And I just think that would be ridiculous, in my opinion, to allow people to just take their life because they can't deal with it. I guess I've never been in that situation where I was, that depressed and that sad and hated my life so much that I would want to do that. I know people do commit suicide, but I think we try to do everything we can to prevent people from committing suicide, because we do value, as a society, I think, value people's lives. So, this is like almost condoning it, and I think it would be a negative to society if we started saying, yeah, you tried, but you couldn't make it, so let's just let you give up. I don't think people always make the best decision, especially when they're younger. By the way, people do make that decision. It's called suicide, and they do it. So I don't think you want to make a law that allows it. After thinking about some of the stuff and putting it in perspective, I don't think my views have changed. I think they've just been more enlightened, or maybe kind of consider both sides. So when I first started the interview, I didn't really have an opinion. I had to think my way through the opinion. I didn't know what I was going to be asked. As I went through the interview, I think I learned some things or thought about some things. So yeah, I think they may have changed, but I don't know that they've changed in any direction. I just think that I might be more open to it. So no, I don't think it's changed, but that's probably because I didn't have strong opinions going in. But I guess I could be convinced. I guess I put it that way. I could have been convinced before either way too, so I don't really have a definite answer there.